Okay, I have a question for you. So, I need your help. We've been doing like the official numbered Ellery Wells shows, and then we've been doing the audio blog, and I'm still not 100% sure on how everything just kind of like lines up. But I'm looking at iTunes numbers. Again, you shouldn't judge your failure or success by those little popularity graphs, or really by any popularity contest, because that even just sounds dumb. But I'm looking at who or which episode, which Ellery Wells shows have been downloaded the most. And the latest one here is, it took 15 days to do what? That was one of the episodes. So I want to know why that one got more downloads than one I think is pretty important. Your part-time mindset is keeping you from full-time success, because I had a conversation about that just a couple hours ago, and I think that's very relevant. So what's the format that works? Because if you don't tell me, I'm just going to keep doing my jam. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs who gave up their six-figure salary and fancy office to start a business, and I wasn't selling lemonade to my neighbors when I was 7. I wasn't born an entrepreneur, and I never laid awake at night dreaming of owning my own business. My name is Ellery Wells, and I was forced to make a decision. Welcome to the Ellery Wells Show, where we talk with real entrepreneurs about real problems that they're facing and real solutions on how they are overcoming obstacles, achieving their goals, and making a difference in the world. If you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, this is the place to be to help you start, build, or grow your business. Anyway, shoot me an email, tweet, Facebook, whatever. Throw an /Ellery Wells on any of those social medias. Reach out, say hello, share the love. But let's go into 3 questions that will determine how successful you're going to be. Now, I'm not going to say, these are how you're going to be successful. But these are things that if you ask yourself these questions, I think the answers will determine the degree to which you will see success in your life. Because I wish there was a formula for success. I wish I knew it, because I'd bottle that crap and I'd sell it. But I wish I knew what it was so that I could do it. Selfishly, I could do it. And then I could turn around and show you exactly what that formula was. Like, do step 1, step 2. All I can do is give you what's worked for me and what hasn't, which I was on this coaching call. My client said, here's an ordinary guy doing extraordinary things, and he's just sharing his story. And I think that's fairly accurate. And I wish I had this answer, but let's dive right into the content, because I'm interested in this topic, and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. So again, there's no formula. The best we can do is learn, observe, and do the things that we need to do, those revenue generating activities daily, personal development daily, those kinds of things, so that we can improve our likelihood of getting the things that we want. Because as I said, there's no step-by-step formula for success that we can follow. I've talked about some of the ingredients for success. You can search probably ingredients for success on the site. It might be, yeah, there it is. If you go back to the podcast from August 1, 2016, you can see what the science behind success is. But there are things that we can do to increase that likelihood. But if you survey and study the winners out there, the people who you would deem as super successful, the ones who have achieved amazing things, you will notice a trend in their behavior. And if you want to grow your business, like, that's why we're here, right? If you want to do, well, you might want to just make more sales and exceed in your company. I'm not going to say climb the corporate ladder, because we all know that's BS. Got to keep that clean lyrics rating, so can't say what I really want to say. We know the corporate ladder does not exist, but whatever. If you want to be seen as an expert or a leader in your industry, in your niche, you've got to ask these 3 questions. And again, write them down. answer them honestly. You can share. That'd be cool too if you share them with me, because I'd like to know what you're doing and those kinds of things. But you can keep them anonymous, or just write them. Write them for yourself. But be honest. Number 1, how much time do you spend practicing and getting better? Think about it. Successful people don't waste a lot of time talking about what they want to do. They just do it. If you were born to do something, nothing should keep you from doing that thing. It shouldn't matter if nobody buys the end result of your work. If you're an artist, make art. If you're a writer, write. If you're a salesman, sell something. If you're a filmmaker, make films. If you want to cook, if you love, oh man. I bought Ashley the Gordon Ramsay Teaches Cooking Masterclass, and she was talking about like gutting a whole chicken, and then she wants it's supposed to be a salmon next. Gross. But if you're a chef, go chef something. When you love what you do, nothing will stop you or get in the way of you doing it, and that will make you better. And getting better will make you more successful. Just as a side note, there's probably someone somewhere in the world doing what you would love to be doing all day, every day, and they're making a killing from it. I don't know how to exactly tell you how to get there, but they are probably answering these 3 questions a certain way. But preparation and practice are 2 primary key ingredients for any plan for success. Find ways to do what you love and work those tasks, those ways of doing what you love into your daily life, and weave your practice time into your schedule so you improve every single day. And if you want to play at the highest levels, if you want to reach the top tiers of success, you've got to spend more time practicing and getting better than everyone else. I just watched this video, JP Sears. He's that redheaded dude who you probably might have seen on Facebook or Twitter, and he's real dry and sarcastic, and his videos are really hilarious. He was talking about, he published one 18 hours ago. So that would be, if you're looking through your Facebook feed, I don't know, anytime in the near future, it would have been May 1st, 2017 on his Facebook page. He was talking about how you go to college to get a degree just like everybody else, but somehow your degree makes you stand out. Anyway, I just thought that was funny and kind of relevant because, again, if you want to play at these highest levels, the pro levels, you've got to spend more time getting better than everybody else. So everybody who's at the top spends time, practice, money, preparing, getting good. But the ones who are at that top 1%, that might get you in the top 5%. But that top 1%, they spend and invest more time than the other 4%, right? So question number 2, how much time do you spend studying your competition? Now, there are 2 ways to look at this when it comes to how you should look at your competition. I'm a big fan of Gary Vee, but if you pay attention to him, he will say, pay no attention whatsoever to what your competition is doing. Keep your head down, focus, hustle, and do the work that you want to do. And I kind of agree with that. But there's another side, and this is the side with Sun Tzu on it. I might have butchered how you would say that, but he's the one who wrote The Art of War. That little $5 book you can get, and everybody talks about it. He will tell you to study your enemy and know his tactics. Now, I'm not saying business is, your competition is your enemy. Someone pointed that out when I talked about this on Facebook. Are you saying business is war? No. But which one of those do you side on? And I kind of think that you've got to do both. You've got to keep your head down, focus on the work, but you also have to know what your enemy, your counterpart, fill in the blank, your competitor, the guy, and again, success isn't a zero-sum game. Just because you win doesn't mean I have to lose, or vice versa. But oftentimes only one person will get the deal. Only one person will make the sale. So it kind of fits, right? But so I kind of look at both of these, and I think there's a middle ground on where we can look at this on how we can apply it to our lives. And again, the original question was, how much time do you spend studying the competition? And when I look at what I want to create, I focus on a result I want to deliver to my clients, coaching programs, websites, whatever. And I try to inject my personality skills and strengths into everything I do. And that's worked for me. And that is me, my version of focusing and doing me. Podcast guest, I can't remember his name. He said, do you and be the best version of you. But I also look at what my competition is doing and how they're doing it. Because if you don't watch the market and see what's working and what isn't, you're no different than an ostrich that sticks its head in the sand. You have to study your competition and learn from what they're doing well and see if you can adapt their methods to what you are doing. Don't change who you are, but be aware of how things can be done and learn from other people's mistakes. And I think that's the big thing. When you watch what other people are doing, you can learn from their mistakes, which costs you less, hurts you less, and ultimately gets you further faster if you just see what other people are doing and copy what works or implement what works and avoid things that have just failed flat. Now, there's a lot of reasons why things fail, so you might have to do a little bit of research, and maybe that's what Gary's getting at. You spend that time learning what everybody else is doing when you should be just doing your version of you from the very beginning. So apply that, but I think you should be paying attention to what your competition is doing, not focusing on it, but I think it's worth studying and learning what the marketplace says it wants. And the last question is, how often are you researching, studying, or learning about your craft? If I ask you to name one successful entrepreneur who didn't spend time every single week reading books about business, I bet you couldn't do it. I don't know if it's even possible because I doubt that successful business owner or entrepreneur even exists. Just like making time for regular practicing, successful people research, study, and learn about how they can get better at their craft. Artists study the way different types of paint react to various types of surfaces. Photographers study lighting techniques, and chefs experiment with new ingredients, and they study exotic new styles of cooking. I mentioned Gordon Ramsay. He's from, oh man, I should know this. That's what happens when you think on the fly. He's from somewhere in the United Kingdom, but he studied in France, so he's got a lot of French influence in his cooking. But you see a lot of people that are learning all the time. I mean, how many times have you scrolled through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you've seen, the 4 books that Mark Zuckerberg thinks you should read, or the 20 books that Bill Gates thinks you should read this year? These high achievers are always learning something, and I would encourage you to do the exact same thing. So here's the summary. Here, we'll wrap this one up. Every time I have invested time, energy, or money in myself or in my business, it has paid off. And I have spent a lot of money and time going to conferences and those kinds of things. I've invested a lot of each of those things, time, energy, and money, into myself and into my business. And every time I've done it, it has paid off. Probably, I don't want to give you a math number, but I've at least, at the very minimum, broken even. Because in entrepreneurship, there's almost zero waste. Everything we learn can be applied to a dozen different areas of life or business, and every failure is something that we can learn from. I'll tell you, if you follow me on Snapchat, if you don't, just go in and add me. I'm at Ellery Wells there too. But I was snapping with one of my clients who'd grown his business over $10,000 a month, which if you watched it originally, he's still going strong, by the way. He says he modified a quote, and I want you to write this down. No, seriously, I want you to write this down on your hand or whatever, because you're going to want to remember this every time something doesn't work out. He says, success leaves clues, which we've heard before. He says, success leaves clues, but failure leaves a blueprint. That's important because I think we can learn more from things that don't go wrong than we can learn from things that go really well, because we often don't know why they win, why we win or why we succeed. But when we fail, we can usually troubleshoot or look back. I mean, after all, hindsight is 20/20, right? And we can figure out what went wrong so we can do it better next time. Success leaves clues. failure leaves a blueprint. Because sometimes I think my clients are kidding when I tell them they need to study, practice, and learn more about their business. Learn WordPress, learn email marketing, those kinds of things. And it's funny when you think of it in the context of a digital business, but I was thinking, if you opened a restaurant and let's say the fryer broke, are you just going to call up the guy and pay $50, $60, $80 an hour to have it fixed? Or are you going to learn a little bit about fryers? Or if you were making, I won't say baked potatoes and the potatoes don't show up, but if you're making something and one of the ingredients doesn't come out or show up, or you get a bad batch, what are you going to do? Just close the store for the day? Or are you going to find a way around it and find a way to make it work? So this applies to online businesses and physical stores, brick and mortar locations. That whenever I tell you to learn more about business, I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. My clients, I think, sometimes think I am, but I'm not. I'm going through moving all of my clients and my hosting business over from one company to another company because they raised my prices anywhere from one product was 12%, one product was 22% over a year, and one product went up 300%. And my business partner on that, or one of my advisors really, he said, is that something we want to keep doing? Is that something we want to offer? Is it worth it anymore? So I had to learn about hosting. I've had to learn in the last 24 hours. So this is very fresh. Learn about different hosting providers, people who offer different pieces of software. Like I'm not going to get technical, but like WHMCS is one software, and then Client Exec is a different software, and how to get them to work. So it's all business building. So finally, let me recap these for you, and we'll wrap it up for today. 3 questions that will determine how successful you are. Number 1, how much time do you spend practicing and getting better? For me, it's a lot. How much time do you spend studying the competition? For me, it's, I don't know, maybe a lot. I like to see what other people are doing, like people who have made like really good landing pages. I try to adopt those and adapt them to my sites and make them fit in with my brand and have my personality. That's one example. And then how often are you researching, studying, or learning your craft? And I think if you say that you are doing each one of these things on a frequent and regular basis, you're probably, if you're not already winning in business or your industry or climbing up your corporate ladder. I can't even say it. That just sounds so dumb. If you're doing these things, you're probably doing better than your peers or your competition. The last thing I wanted to mention here, and you're going to hear this over the next few episodes because I want you to attend this. In June, before it gets hot here in Texas, I'm hosting Mastermind Weekend. If you go to ElleryWells.com, clickety-clack, ElleryWells.com/MM-Weekend, you can get more information about how much it costs, where it is, and what you're going to learn. But masterminds are fantastic. If you're not in one, you should be. And if you are in one, and it's a good one anyway, or it's one of mine, you know how powerful they can be. I've had a big issue over the it's resolved now, but over the last 10 days or so. And I had dozens of messages, voice messages. We use a tool called Voxer, with some guys in my mastermind who are further in some regards, not so much in others, but getting their advice, dozens of these messages on how to handle this situation that could have cost me a few $1,000s, as in the regard of a refund somebody wanted. And we did not end up doing a refund, but we solved it. We solved the problem, and part of that the way that we solved it was due to the responses that I got from being in that mastermind. So anyway, we are packing a mastermind. Not virtual, but in real life, hugs and handshakes here in Round Rock, Texas. That's where I am. That's where the studio is. That's where I am watching some people on the first hole right now play golf. And we're going to show up Friday, leave Sunday. and you get basically 2 days of masterminding with me, some of the guys on my team, some instruction, and go to elleryWells.com/MM weekend and get a ticket. There's small groups. It's not going to be a large group or you just, one of hundreds, but we're going to have, there's probably about 14 spots left. We're not going to have very many people. And I want you to come and join us, bring some value to the table, but also learn, get help with your business, brainstorm new ideas, come with a problem that you need help solving, and join me in June. And that's it for today, guys. I have some things to do. I am leaving in 2 days for Toronto. So you have a wonderful day. And from Round Rock, Texas, I'm your host, Ellery Wells. Go do something awesome.